I'm going to show you how you can use the soup can as a structure for helping you to build your slab cup. Using a regular size sheet of notebook paper or printer paper, fold it lengthwise so that it is the same height as your can. This folded piece of paper will now become the stencil that you'll use to create the body of your cup. If you've made an adequately sized slab, you should be able to position the stencil so that you're reserving some of the slab to be used for the base of your cup and the handle. Use your needle tool to gently trace around the stencil. Now use a ruler to hold a straight line as you cut through the slab along the lines you traced from your stencil. Now using the same folded paper stencil, you're going to tape it around the can. Make sure that you're taping it only to itself and not to the actual can, so that it can be freely moved off of the can like a sheath. Now you'll take your cut, textured slab and turn it over on your work surface. Place your can on top of the slab and wrap the slab around the can. Now, holding the ends of the slab, stand up both the slab and the can. The can should help support the slab from distorting. The ends of the slab will be overlapped. This part you'll want to cut off. I cut through both ends of the slab at the same time at an angle to ensure that the ends meet up perfectly. Now remove the excess bits of clay from both the outside and the inside of your cylindrical shape. Score the ends of the slabs where they would join up. Think of your scoring as creating a zipper in the clay. So you want to make sure that your scoring is really deep and ugly. Use slurry as a glue to join the two scored ends together. Use your fingers to firmly press the seam together. Next, use your fingers or other tools to completely meld the seam so that it's no longer visible. Smooth out the seam with a sponge when you're done. Now that you've been able to make a cylinder using the can as a support, you should be able to slide the cylinder directly off the can because of the paper sheath. Just as you address the seam on the outside of the cylinder, you'll have to do the same on the inside. Pull out the paper sheath so that you can see the seam clearly. Since it's difficult to fit your whole hand into the cylinder, I found that it's easiest to find some other rounded tool to reach inside and close the seam effectively. Now that the basic cylinder has been made and the seams have been smoothed out, you're ready to put a base on your cup. Start by placing your cylinder on a spare section of your textured slab. Trace around it using your needle tool. Remove the cylinder, then use your needle tool again to cut through the slab. Turn the base piece over so that the texture will be on the outside of the cup. Use your needle tool to score around the edges of your base piece. Also score the bottom of your cylinder. Remember to score deep and ugly so that you're giving the clay opportunity to knit together. Use slurry to glue the scored seams together. Press the seams together gently with your fingertips or paddle it lightly with your blue rubber rib. Using your fingers, gently press down the base of your cylinder, creating a concave surface. Just as you had seams to address on the inside and the outside of the cylinder, you will have to do the same with the base. Use your tools and your fingers to completely meld the seam together. Finally, finish by smoothing off all of your sharp edges with your sponge. To securely join the seam on the inside of your cylinder, you'll have to roll a thin coil of clay. Here I'm cutting a piece of scrap clay, dipping it in water, and rolling it on my work surface until it's the same thickness as my needle tool handle. The next part's a little tricky, but you have to get that coil into the seam. It's very helpful to use the eraser end of a pencil to push the coil into the corner at the bottom of your cylinder. Then I use a plastic spoon to meld the coil half onto the base of the cylinder and half onto the sides of the cylinder. Now that the basic structure of the cup has been made, it's time to take a look at the details that make this a personal object. Currently, the rim is too thick and square to fit comfortably in the mouth. Use your needle tool to carefully cut away at a 45-degree angle the interior portion of the rim. Use a damp sponge and the side of your finger to soften all of those edges and planes. At this point, you should have a completed, straight-walled cylinder. Make sure that you wrap it up with plastic so that your project is ready for the next step.